tu devi fare una sottoscrizione a questo canale. Subito adesso. Become a subscriber now. It's really easy. Click the button. Grazie. The classic look of so many Italian cars from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s were somewhat compromised by the passing of a new road regulation which required amber turn signals as well as side marker lights. Our Topolino here shows the evidence of that change with these very strange added lights at the front, and you'll see some added lights at the back as well. However, it is quite fortunate that it still retains its original semaphores, which are really incredibly neat, and they're still operational. Now, if you had this vehicle in any other environment except for Italy, you can actually remove those because they're not required by law anywhere else. But modern driving dictates the fact that you probably want to have as much light on the road as possible, so most people leave them once they've been installed. The Topolino was the car that put Italy on wheels. Italy's Model T, or Austin 7. And while the Fiat Balilla of 1932 was the first popular priced Italian car within the reach of most of the middle class, the Topolino took that to the next step. And in its pre-war guise, as well as its many post-war iterations, it provided transport for millions of Italians and others around Europe. It was also manufactured under license in France and in Spain. The Topolino, just like its other counterparts in this utility class, also of course spawned a great number of work vehicles. And this car that I'm driving right now is a 1949 Fiat Topolino furgoncino. And furgone is Italian for truck. Furgoncino is a little truck. And the practicality of these vehicles is undeniable. When you think about the spaces in Italy, some of the small streets that run through villages and cities, a delivery vehicle of this size would be incredibly handy indeed. Today, they still have very small delivery vehicles that do great work in all of the smaller villages and historic cities in Italy. And with a vehicle of this type, speed is not really of the essence, so therefore you don't need a lot of power. And these indeed do not have a lot of power, so that's fine there. But it can be a very capacious little carrier. And of course, there's very little today in terms of motoring that has the character of a Topolino. One of the other great joys about having a car like this is that the parts availability is amazing. There are still thousands of these on the road in use in Italy by fanatic Topolino club members. And so the support is tremendous considering how old this car is. But of course it's not surprising because they built so many of them. But it's one thing which makes it much easier to stay on the road and to enjoy. And this is probably one of the most desirable series of the Topolino because it's 1949, so it has the slightly larger engine than the pre-war models, but it still has the great look of the pre-war with that wonderful waterfall grille. The later models that came out, this is the 500 500B. The 500C model of the Topolino had a more modern horizontal grille, but doesn't quite have the panache of this one. This is one that you can really see driving through a Roman street first thing in the morning delivering bread, or with the plumber or electrician coming to visit his clients. This is a car that today can be really enjoyed by an enthusiast who doesn't mind taking it slowly. And I think that we could all use with a little bit more slowness in life. A single lane country road seems to be the natural habitat for this Topolino. One of the other things which is very surprising about it is that this Topolino, like several other Italian cars of its era, like some of the Lancias, has a constant mesh transmission. Now, it is not a synchro mesh transmission, but if you shift it slowly and deliberately, once the car is rolling, there's really no need for double clutching, which is something which is very interesting and very advanced, quite frankly. And it makes driving them much easier than it would some other cars of this era. They also have a wonderful period feel inside. The hard plastic sun visors, everything inside is painted. There's a minimum of upholstery, the seats and some door panels, and that's it. But it's also not very echoey considering the fact that it's a van. And that's also quite endearing in driving this car. I love Fiats. I love old Fiats. I've got a 1935 Bertone-bodied Balilla myself in Italy. And as I have often said, there's something so incredibly wonderful about finding the speed of an old car and matching yourself to that speed. There's nothing more relaxing than doing that and just letting the world come to you. Or in this case, since I've got this van, I'll deliver the world to you. You just have to be patient. I'll be there fra poco. Well, thanks for taking a nice slow ride into the past with me in this Topolino furgoncino. Io spero che c'era divertente. Ciao.